Good morning, students. My name is MAustin. I'm from my governance program. And for my senior internship this year, my topic was nutrition and wellness for today's youth. Just wanted to start at the beginning of the year. Well, really last year, given the whole idea for this project, I had sort of a basis of what I wanted to do. I wanted to go into engineering, and so I started looking around as soon as this year started for internship, and I couldn't find anything that really fit my skill level, my interest. Everything was a little too technical at the time, and there weren't really any firms that would entertain an intern at the time. So I was feeling a little discouraged and anxious because other people were getting ahead with their internships getting started. So I decided to turn to something more of a hobby for me. That's nutrition and wellness. It's something that's been part of my life for the past 2 years. I've become something of an expert in through my own personal studies. So I wanted to really dive into this. So I started out, I'll get right into the research. What used to be an old habit of mine was soda drinking. Sodas are not very good for you or bad for you. The coloring, the sweeteners, and then the sweeteners were what really kind of piqued my what goes into these. You see on the left here we have which is our regular sodas. These are sweet, high fructose corn syrup. And so this was the first topic of my research, was what are the effects of this agent the prevalent restaurants in our pantries. It's just about, and I wanted to really dive. And then on the right, are typically sweetened with aspartame, which is a artificial sweetener, as in it doesn't have any calories. It doesn't, it doesn't lead to any sort that you would take in. So for that to satisfy the fructose corn from research, there any correlation, as you can see, in the obesity rates as high fructose corn syrup hit the market. See, in about 1960 is when high fructose corn syrup first kind of hit the market. Then people started to, this cheap, easy to make sweetener became more. If you're Coca-Cola and you can now make it that's sweeter and cheaper, then you're definitely going to go for that. And so that's how high fructose corn syrup kind of hit the market strong. And then you see in about 1980 we hit another boost in the obesity level, and that's we have now a whole generation of children that have been exposed to high fructose corn syrup for just about their entire lives. I mean, everyone can remember, going to McDonald's or going to the grocery store, picking up a 2-liter and drinking soda. And now what's important here is that really until you develop, you have a virtually unlimited tolerance for sweetness. Until your bones are fully developed, you can take as much sugar as you can. That's why we see kids, are commonly as loving soda, fast food. They can take as much of it as they want. And so you develop this sort of sweet tooth, and you can see here, and that's from the people with the sweet tooth. They can't stop. They've developed this habit of corn syrup. Is when you're young, you can get hooked on sweetness really more than anything. And that is kind of what I found in my research. It should be something that should be avoided. And then on to aspartame. This is the chemical structure of it. I was always a defender of aspartame is not bad for you at all. It can help you, regulate your diet. And in fact, my assertion was partially correct. Aspartame, through my research, so like 1 or 2 diet sodas a day, didn't have that much effect. And what really sparked some sort of controversy in my mind was there was a research study done at Princeton University with mice, and they were primarily fed aspartame-based food sources, and they developed over time glucose intolerance, similar to lactose intolerance. If they were fed glucose, it would lead to negative effects when they ate that. And so the aspartame, it should really be stopped pretty much only in liquids. Imagine if there was a 0-calorie snack, 0-calorie chips, Zero-calorie diets. What about meals? You have a craving and you can just eat it. It doesn't really do anything to you, or has minimal effects, and that can really lead to some serious problems. So aspartame, although it's okay and it's in the amount it's found now, it really should be avoided in the future. And so after my research, I will move on to my internship in community service, and this quote really embodies that sort of what I took to look for in my internship in community service. So no man has the right to be an amateur in the matter of physical training. It is a shame for a man to grow old without seeing the beauty and strength of which his body is capable. Socrates. And so that was kind of my goal. I wanted to see no one being an amateur in their own physical fitness. And so I turned to the YMCA, which is where I do my own physical training, strength training, cardio. A lot of people in the community do. And I met up with a personal trainer there named Blake Campbell. I hadn't really talked to him before, but it was really a great experience. He has experience at the collegiate level with sports nutrition, strength training. He works with athletes on injury prevention. He was really knowledgeable, and I learned a lot from him that I really hadn't gotten into before. And I saw myself even as more of an amateur than an expert at this point. And so we had this idea for a class. There's a leaders club in Goochland, and there are fitness requirements. And the fitness test, for those people that fail the test, we decided this year to implement a class. So it's more like a free personal training session where we go through just the basics, providing a basis of how to do various strength training and just regulating your fitness. And so that was really and I started as just participating, but as the time went on in this internship and as it's still going on, I'm becoming more of a leader in the class as opposed to just being behind the scenes. And that's really been something of a stretch for me because it went from my own personal experience to putting that on other people, teaching them form and ways to get into good habits. So I'll kind of run you through basically what we do. We start out with some dynamic stretching. So these are some of the guys and girls in the class. And this is just like to get warmed up, just get some stretching in. We try to keep it as fun as possible, like doing different things, movements throughout the course there. And then we move on to some more strength training with weights. And that was what a lot of the guys liked because for some reason having weights just makes it seem more real, I guess. And then we finally end up with abs after doing a lot of strength stuff. And the abs I think are important because those exercises can be kind of difficult. They're exhausting. So it was good to get some like exercises that are easily done at home, easy to latch onto. And so then I move on to a community service, following the same guidelines as the quote of quality earlier. There is an event known as Healthy Kids Day. That's an annual event at the YMCA. And once I latched onto that, I wanted to make it something bigger because I felt like it had been underappreciated in past years. And luckily, I didn't even have to do anything because it was combined with a color-me-cated race, which I think is going to make it so much more of a big event beyond the scope of anything I could do with just advertising that I was planning on. So I really think this is going to be a great gateway for people to get into fitness, and I'll be running some booths there. I've been involved with the planning of the race, and kind of what the logistics and how this is going to work with Healthy Kids Day being part of it. And so then the impact of this for the community would be just to get people moving, get them out there, sort of become less of an amateur and more of an expert with your own body, realizing that you can run these races, that you can know these facts in the the kid run too, or the fun run. But I mean, those will be important because it's not so daunting. It's just a little race, but it's enough to maybe spark some interest. So then finally, the impact for me through my research, I've realized that maybe the diets. And for the past year, I've been avoiding those, but maybe the diet ones aren't so bad. And tea also that's sweetened with aspartame it's still all right for you if you need to control your diet in that way. But the high fructose corn syrup, I've tried to cut out of my diet completely, and it's definitely very difficult. In the internship, I've really learned a lot in teaching others how to do things. That was really kind of a stretch for me, was kind of taking the knowledge that I had accumulated and putting it to use with someone else. And so next year, I'll be attending the University of Virginia School of Engineering. I decided that I'd rather keep nutrition and wellness as my hobby, and engineering is my profession. So I'm sure I'll be revisiting that one day, teaching others how to do this stuff. If I had any advice to you guys out here, be assertive with yourself your senior year. You've got a lot of deadlines. You've got a lot of stuff to do. You need to really take charge and be assertive also when you're looking for things like internships, for example. You don't want to be just sending out emails, just kind of, letting it hang there. You want to try and send out emails that are going to be, good, that are going to get results, and you want to make sure that if it's not going to work for you, then you need to find something else, because it might not go through. So, any questions? Yes, sir.
I had a question, Matt. More pertaining to physical fitness. I'm starting to find, because I have a friend who's a trainer, that so much stuff that was recommended to do in like the 80s and 90s, really in terms of weightlifting, is really not good for your body in terms of injuries and stuff. What would be your advice to, in terms of physical fitness, moving forward into the future?
Well, keeping up with the times is always going to be like something difficult with it, especially health sciences. But right now, I think there are a lot of there have been a lot of studies in the past couple of years, past 10, 20 years, that have really influenced how we view strength training in particular. And I think that what we have now is a really good basis, but the best thing is to stick to natural movements, not so much like the say like CrossFit, where you're doing a lot of unnatural movements really fast is a great way to get hurt. But doing natural movements that you normally do, like squats or deadlifts, things that come to you naturally, would be a better way to go.
Now, do you have any sense of what is most critical for longevity or for health and fitness? Is it what we put in our bodies or exercise?
Oh, definitely the main thing is going to be what you put in. Your nutrition is going to be the primary factor in your health. I found, through my personal training, when I wasn't tracking what I eat, I would just, go to the gym but not really see, significant results. But when you're tracking what you eat, you definitely feel it, initially as you go into it. And, noted in many studies that nutrition is like the key factor in changing your body and changing your health.
Matt, do you see any potential for change in some of the trends that you saw, like that obesity trend you showed in the slide? I mean, there's some things like now people have Fitbits, or there's new stuff out there. Are there any potential changes in that?
Well, I can personally speak to the Fitbit. I have one on right now. They are inspiring, and I think that really just getting something that will get you into it. Like I talked earlier about being an amateur, it's very daunting initially, trying to do everything perfect, and you'll kind of be paralyzed by analysis. But really, I think anything that can get people into it without having them think too much about, is this going to be the very best routine or the very best diet, I think that's really what's